Close the deal, I am the destroyer. I am the chosen lawyer. Training hard to knock them to the floor. I am the chosen lawyer.
Welcome back to the Chosen Life Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Hacohen, partner Kormans LLP, author Bible 3.0, and generally fun-loving guy. And here with me today, my hypnotist, I would say friend, and working towards brother, Mr. Luke Chao of the Morpheus Clinic.
Correct. The Morpheus Clinic for Hypnosis in Toronto.
In Toronto. There we go.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the Chosen Life.
Thank you.
So just a full disclosure that you and I have worked together. So I bought a 10-pack. I said I have some deep needs in my life. I need help. We did a consultation together. You said, this guy's a little out there, but I think I can work with the guy. I can make this work. I can fix this. And we had a great time for 10 days. And we're going to talk about that next week because this episode's not about me. This episode's about you. So for you to understand how you and I work together, we got to learn who the heck is Luke Chao.
What would you like to know?
Well, I actually made a whole agenda if that's good with you. So we're going to kind of go piece by piece. So we're sitting right now in your office, right? We're in the Morpheus Clinic in Toronto. Beautiful space, by the way.
Thank you.
Love it. When I walk through this space and the different rooms, it looks like every bit of it, attention to detail. There was real reasoning for why the space is the way it is. Is that in my head or am I onto something?
Well, I have to concede that I didn't design where the walls are. If I had designed where the walls are, we'd have probably more partitions. This is formerly a graphic design studio, IT consulting firm, and my landlord just kind of put it up for rent. So initially I was down the street for about 16 years, working one-on-one with people. And when this space became available 3 years ago, I walked through it, and it's this room we're in right now. As your viewers can see, there's a lot of chairs behind us, and there's more chairs over there. I realized that I can take what I do one-on-one and bring it to many, many more people. So this room right here is, as far as I know, the world's only purpose-dedicated space for group hypnosis.
Love it. Love it. Because I called it the seminar room, but it's the classroom.
It's the class. You can call it a seminar room. You can call it a group hypnosis room, classroom. But yes, I did design this room intending to bring hypnotherapy to much larger groups than I've been able to in a much smaller space.
So first question I got to ask you, what does a hypnotist do? So I had a very clear definition of what I thought it was to be hypnotized. It was from The Simpsons. And for all you who are Simpsons fans, and Mr. Burns, hired the hypnotist to help his baseball team. He hired world-class baseball stars to be a ringer on the nuclear power plant team. And so the hypnotist would come with the watch and wave the watch. You are a great baseball player. You will hit many home runs. And that's what I expected to be hypnotized with the watch, and that's not the case at all.
So eye fixation inductions, which is what's visually represented on The Simpsons and many other Hollywood shows, they're visually interesting to look at, and also somewhat outdated, given that there are more effective methods for bringing someone into hypnosis. The style of hypnotism where you just straight up tell someone, you are this, you are that. It's kind of like you can't point to someone and just say, be happy, be relaxed, without also giving them some detailed instruction for the thought processes that produce a happy or relaxed person. To me, it's almost kind of cruel to tell someone, just relax, and to offer no additional guidance. So even with hypnosis, our clients need to have some reference point for what being the world's best baseball player even feels like or sounds like internally in one's inner dialogue. So when I take on a case, for example, let's say someone has a fear of public speaking. Well, my job is to first figure out, how does a confident public speaker even think inside his or her head? Because that is what I have to communicate to my clients. A lot of people come here seeking coping mechanisms or relaxation techniques. But a confident public speaker doesn't use techniques to simulate confidence. And I speak as someone who, in adolescence, was terrified of speaking to a group of teenagers who at the time were my peers. And today, as you can see in this classroom, I voluntarily gather groups together so I can speak to them en masse because that is the most efficient way to reach as many people as possible. So I can speak from personal experience that a confident public speaker isn't using breathing techniques to cause relaxation before they take the podium. That's how an unconfident speaker
Interesting.
acts. Having been on both sides, these days I do believe myself to be the expert in the room. I see public speaking as an act of leadership and empowerment. I recognize that everyone who sits in front of me, they're not my judge, they're not my teacher, they're not going to grade me at the end. They are my students. They've shown up recognizing that I've thought some matter through deeply enough that I can teach them what I've thought through. So to me, confidence is the outcome of a mindset or a worldview or a set of beliefs. And the hypnotist's job is, again, it's first to ascertain what these beliefs sound like in one's inner dialogue, and then to articulate these beliefs out loud while my client listens very carefully. And that's how these thought processes get inside my client's head. So if I just teach my client how to simulate relaxation through breathing exercises or through Pavlovian conditioning, then I've kind of done them a disservice. And if I just straight up tell them, be confident, without giving them specific guidance as to how, again, it's a little cruel because people don't know anything until they learn how to do the thing. And if my client never previously learned how a confident speaker thinks, well, then I should be the one to teach them straightforwardly how a confident speaker thinks. So hypnotists do have consent from our clients to be so straightforward as to say, stop thinking like an unconfident person. Start thinking this, then this, then this. And that, in summary, is what I do.
So I've just had a aha moment as you were saying this. And I'm going to tell you now a quick story, and I think you're going to smile and feel good about this because I just realized, and it didn't even dawn on me, the session, we had 10 sessions together working on specific instances, which we'll talk about next week. But now I've transferred it to other aspects of my life, and I didn't even realize I was doing it. Case in point, I'm not feeling so great. I have a foot issue, and I come to my workout and talking to my trainer. And, you know, the first exercise we do, we go on very light weights, and then we build up, and then we're ready for set one. And I'm looking at set one, and I got to do these squats on this heavy weight for me. And I'm thinking in my head, oh my God, how am I going to do this? This is impossible. And I said to myself, hold on a minute. Let's stop for a second. We've done this. We've done this many, many times. Not only have we done this many times, we've done this with heavier weight, and we've done it for more sets. So you've done this before. And I can see myself doing it. I'm picturing myself doing it. So let's just go, that guy that did it, just go be that guy. You were that guy, and you are that guy, and you will be that guy. There's nothing to fear because you've been down this road, and we're going to keep going down this road. And I'm having these kind of conversations with myself, and I'm walking to the weight, and I said, I'm confident. I'm going to do this. Let's do it. And boom. And so I'm doing that combination, but I'm also picturing myself doing it confidently. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not doing any breathing techniques. I'm not doing mumbo jumbo. I'm reasoning with myself. Yep. And it's logical to say, I'm scared of something that I've done before and I've done it well. Well, what is there to be afraid of? Mm-hmm. I think I kind of hypnotize myself.
Well, there's nothing I say to my clients that they can't figure out by themselves. Just like someone could represent themselves in a courtroom, but it's still best practice to hire someone who's actually passed the bar to represent you in a courtroom, mm-hmm. right? So the ideas I give to my clients are well-reasoned, they are grounded, they are backed up by the evidence of one's eyes and ears, and such conclusions can be arrived at by any thinking, perceptive person. But sometimes it's the long way around to try to arrive at these conclusions on your own. I've had thousands of cases by this point in my career. I can reference past cases to try to figure out what do I need to say to my client the next time that they come in. So because I've done this pre-thinking, and I've been doing this for almost 2 decades, and I work about 6 days a week.
Happy 19th anniversary, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes.
That was 2 weeks ago. So
We got people on this stuff. Don't worry.
thank you. Whenever someone's done the thinking already,
Yeah.
it's just so much easier to hire them to present to you that thinking rather than to start from scratch and then sort through all your thoughts in an attempt to arrive at the thought process of a confident speaker or a confident flyer or someone who is more optimistic and sees the glass as half full.
You want the metaphor that I use for people is this. I tell them, let's take basketball, for example. You could say Michael Jordan, LeBron James.
Yep.
Best basketball players of all time. Part of what made them such good basketball players is I said to people, do you think that they just walk onto courts by themselves, teach themselves how to shoot, practice by themselves, and show up at the game and just excel? No. They're bringing people, may not be as talented as them, may not know as well as them, but they still have, if they have coaches that are, there are things that others can see that we don't. We're very, very, we're not objective with ourselves. That's just the reality of it. We see ourselves through one light, and somebody else that's on the outside that understands what we're doing in the process, if that person can tweak LeBron James slightly and now he becomes a better player, well, if it's good enough for LeBron James, it's good enough for me. So that's kind of how I see it.
The crazy thing, and I'm just going to blame Sigmund Freud.
Sure.
He's easy to blame.
Absolutely.
The crazy thing is so many people believe that they have to understand how they came to become ignorant as to how to relax, how to speak confidently. But ignorance is actually the natural state we're all born into. It becomes a wild goose chase to try to go back to, well, why did a young LeBron not know how to dribble a basketball? I mean, the moment he gets coaching, that kind of solves the problem, right? So if we're also born not knowing how to be happy in the modern world, there may be nothing wrong with us. Just like we're born not knowing how to dribble a basketball, even if we become a great basketball player. Well, even if we eventually become confident, relaxed, self-loving, self-accepting, self-respecting, we're not born knowing this by default. Worse, we're often taught how to reject ourselves or how to betray ourselves rather than how to love and care for and respect ourselves as we go through life. So until someone gets clear, specific guidance to think in the ways that they want to, no amount of soul searching is necessarily going to reveal the answers or the solutions. It's as crazy as expecting like a 5-year-old LeBron to, have been born knowing how to dribble a basketball. Even he had to start somewhere with a coach or a teacher who's done it before.
I don't know if you've read this before. Like, I found this mind-blowing. He spends over $1 million a year on his body, his mind. So between private chefs, coaches for basketball, the chambers for rejuvenation, sleep coaches. He's got a coach for everything for perfection.
He's taking care of his capital. I mean, his body and his mind are the two things that he uses to perform. And the $1 million he invests to improve his human capital produces an extremely good return on investment.
And I got to say, for me, you were a coach for my mind. Because one of the things is, as a person, I was thinking about what you're saying as far as ignorance, and they say ignorance is bliss. It's not bliss. The thing about ignorance is, let's say I'm afraid of something. The easiest thing is just not to do it and to cower away from it and say, it's just not for me. I'm not a kind of person who could do this and this and just be away from it. But all it's doing, it's holding one back. And it's funny how you let one thing hold you back. You all of a sudden justify how many things can hold you back. And it's so liberating to not be living in the blissful ignorance, but to actually be self-aware and break out of the shell.
There are so many people who think that they can't relax when actually they've just never been shown how to. And that's a very big distinction between unable to versus have never been shown how to.
Right.
So many people think they can't love themselves when they've just never been exposed to a moral argument for how you can love yourself and be a good person at the same time. Where often it's ironically a person's conscience that prevents them from self-care and self-love and me time. But once you're exposed to a good moral argument that if love is endlessly generated by the human heart, well, then you can love yourself, you can love your friends, you can love your family, you can love your neighbors, you can love art, music, nature, and animals, and you still have more love the very next moment to give. But like I said, we're born not knowing any of this, and then we grow up hearing the opposite. So there's got to be someone, or at least, there's got to be an entire profession of people whose job it is to give people this kind of moral clarity, or in some cases, epistemic clarity that the plane's going to land at the end of the flight.
Right.
And until philosophers professionalize, I don't really see any other group doing this. It's not doctors, because their job is to diagnose and treat with medicine.
Yes.
And it's not therapists, because their job is to listen to you talk through your problems and not to be very directive about how to think instead. I'm in the profession of being directive in teaching people how to think instead of the problematic ways they've been thinking previously.
You're focusing on solutions, not problems.
Exactly. And that's just the quickest way to bring someone to an ideal mindset.
So let me bring it full circle for you, because we could spend probably 10 hours on the subject matter. But if we're going to talk about Luke Chao, talk about the Morpheus Clinic, talk about the whole process, I got to bring it up because coincidentally or not, the way the universe works, when you and I met and we're starting to work together, I told you, oh, by the way, I'm going to be heading for Vipassana. I made the decision that it took me 15 years almost to decide that, yes, I can do this. I'm going to disconnect from the world for 10 days. I'm off to this meditation retreat. And everybody that I know that doesn't meditate, they all have the same answer when I tell them about meditation. Meditation is not for me. I can't meditate. I'm not programmed that way. I can't sit still. And my answer always is, if you can't meditate, then you need meditation. It's a cycle. And if I'm recalling correctly, when you and I first spoke and knowing how you found your life journey, there would be no Luke Chao in front of me right now. There'd be no Morpheus Clinic if not for Vipassana.
So the origin story
Yes,
of
please.
this practice goes back to 2006, where I'd been out of school. I graduated from U of T with a degree in English Lit. So I'd been out of school for a couple of years. I tried my hand at freelance writing, made a minimal amount of money through that. I was a note taker for deaf and hard of hearing students, because at least I was a fast typist. And a friend of mine said that he was going to this 10-day meditation retreat outside Toronto in the woods, and he wanted me to come with it. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm unemployed. I can do this. So I agreed. And when I got back from those 10 days of silence and contemplation, unplugged from the rest of the world, I was as close to fearless as I'd ever been ever in my life.
Right.
Because I'd examined myself. I'd examined my feelings, my thoughts, my memories. And they lack the substance of anything that could be a threat to me. So with that kind of insight, I gained clarity that this hypnosis thing that I've been interested in since I was an adolescent, and that I've been certified in shortly after my degree in English Lit, this is what I wanted to at least make a really good go at doing. So within 2 weeks after getting back, I rented out the place down the street at 15 Elm. The brass plaque is still on the building.
Yes.
And now it's my podcast studio for How to Be an Adult. But I worked out of there for 16 years because I came back from Vipassana fearless, or as close to fearless as I'd ever been previously in my life. And if you ask the teachers there, they are kind of like anti-hypnosis, but also a lot of spiritual practice. Some evangelical sects in Christianity are also anti-hypnosis. It's not the kind of hypnosis that I practice. It's because hypnosis is not a homogeneous practice. So you will find spiritual hypnotists that have ideas and espouse ideas that contradict certain faiths. But yes, if I never gained that fearlessness through examination of my thoughts and my feelings and my beliefs and my body and my mind, then I don't know what I would be doing, but I'd probably be a middle manager in the corporate world somewhere at this point. But because I had that experience, now I believe that by the time I'm retired, so call it another 30 years, I want to be among the best practitioners of hypnotherapy in the English-speaking world. And given that I started at 23, I don't think it's at all a crazy thought that by 73, I'm going to be one of the best in the world.
I love that. I love that. And you speak with such conviction because you know that you're on that track, and there's no doubt in your mind. If Luke Chao today could go to Luke Chao from 19 years ago that was opening up the center, if you could give him one piece of advice, what would you tell him?
Trust your own thoughts, perceptions, and principles. Don't automatically defer to a teacher or a trainer or an author just because they were born at an earlier year than you. I tell my own students the same thing. You should think for yourself. You should trust your own eyes and ears. And where there's disagreement, well, let's have a conversation because I could be wrong. So the younger me lacked the confidence to believe in his own thoughts and perceptions, his own values and principles. So I kind of took the long way around to develop my own idiosyncratic practice of hypnotism.
Considering that, and I've so many questions to ask you because we're just grazing the surface. So we're going to have to come back for another week and then yet another week. And we're going to talk about my experience with you and why I showed up here in the first place. So as we're ending today, I got to ask you, when you first opened the center and you became a hypnotist, looking at what your goals were back then, how do they compare to your goals now looking towards the future?
So at 23, I had no idea that in my 40s, I would still be hypnotizing people professionally.
Yeah.
I had no idea that I will have exceeded the big hypnosis centers of 2006. But right now I'm doing both. So again, it kind of comes down to lack of conviction. And to be fair, most 23-year-olds don't have much insight into what they'd be doing in their 40s either. So we all take life as a winding path, and until we gain a line of sight to what's around the corner, we literally just cannot see what is around the corner. But that's fine, because we'll navigate what's around the corner once we gain a line of sight. It just happens that year after year for 19 years, after the global financial crisis, after invasion of squirrels at my old office, after the tearing up of Elm Street for a water main replacement, after not a total delisting, but after my Google ranking tanked for a couple years, after a global pandemic, after all of this, what's around the corner is I am still hypnotizing people professionally. And that's why I'm predicting that as life continues to take a winding path around each corner, I'm probably still going to be hypnotizing people professionally.
People need life coaching. That's just the way, and it's a unique format in how you're helping people get to where they want to be and be the people that they envision. You know, and I love it. You're helping the world one person at a time.
Yeah. And hopefully 25 people at a time if this classroom takes off.
This is true. So we're going to talk more about that, and we'll come back next week. That's Luke Chao, Jonathan Hacohen, Chosen Life Podcast, and we're going to talk about the fear of flying and how to get past that.